Hello, everybody. This is Kamal. I am co-founder at AccelerateAI. I welcome you all to another fresh series on automated exploratory data analysis. In this series of video, we will focus on data prep as a library. If you have referred to our other videos, you would notice we spoke about some of the features, functionalities on pandas profiling, detail, and lux. Those are the previous packages that we have covered. This is one of the powerful one using data prep. From a data science program perspective, when we look at it, obviously the background is there is a problem statement. You would get some data sets from various sources, different formats, and then leverage the crisp DM process to able to analyze, model it, solution it, and deploy it as part of this entire journey. And then you accomplish the outcomes. Here, we know the crucial part of the data science process is data understanding, data preparation, which covers predominantly the EDA and feature engineering aspect of it. Hence, EDA becomes one of the most important portion of the data science process. And it eventually focuses or consumes, we would say, kind of 80% of the entire effort that we spend. Now, when we look at AutoEDA as a solution to some of the EDA related effort when we do, obviously, some of these libraries that we have shown here helps a lot. These are very useful packages that can be leveraged for our initial analysis. The benefits are threefold. One, faster and quicker analysis that we can do. Second, of course, it in turn saves time and effort. Third, it gives a very precise, quick snapshot of analysis on various statistical inferences, be it identifying the missing values, duplicates, or be it the correlation between various variables, features, or different type of additional charts that is relevant. Now, when we look at data prep, there are few features which are significant. One, we can perform distribution and analyze it. So analyzing distributions is one of the key aspects of data prep that we will see in the demo shortly. Then second, you would see about the correlations, analyzing correlations. First of all, you would have some of these from the data frame, then you can use with one variable, then you can use with multiple variables and compare them, and then draw some of the charts, which is very powerful and quick. Third, you can also analyze on the missing values. What is the impact on another feature or variable of the missing values of one variable, right? That something is also very powerful. Then you can also analyze difference between data frames, be it a test or trend data frame. You want to analyze and see whether the missing sales of a particular column is having a similar representation across the test and trend data set, and so on. There could be many different aspects related to that. So that's also an interesting aspect of it. Another thing, of course, all of these, it consolidates. There is a profile report that data prep is able to create as part of it. And we'll see how that gets created, which is also very meaningful. You would have seen pandas profiling. So whatever, we have seen there, kind of the interactions, correlations, missing values, duplicate values, some of the information, the top 10, bottom 10 rows, and so on, those are also consolidated as part of this report. So let me take you through the demo real quick on data prep. So if we start looking into this, obviously we are using loan prediction data set as a sample data set from Kaggle. That's the reference. If you look at data prep as a package, the features are manifold. We look at the general overviews. We look at various details about your features, their variables, their interactions, correlations that we mentioned about. Then you have the different correlation, different interaction, in terms of visualization, in terms of charts or plots that are also represented. And when to use, this is important, when you look at this data set size, if it is fairly large, then also data prep can be used. It seems it is pretty much 10x faster. It is claimed in some of the cases. Of course, it varies from situation to situation, but kind of faster than pandas profiling due to its highly optimized task-based computing model that it uses. As usual with other libraries, we have to use it as a basis for our further EDA analysis on top of it. And the value that it gives is very detailed analysis, some of the analysis that we can do across various points that we just mentioned about. And we'll see that in the demo now. So you have the pandas data frame. We import that. If DataPrep is not installed, you can use the pip install DataPrep command and invoke it. And then you have to say from dataprep.eda import for some of the usages that you would like to do, whether you want to create the profile report that we mentioned, create underscore report, or plot correlation, plot missing, plot diff, those will be used as we'll see across. So this is our trained data set. This is the test data set, representation of the loan prediction sample data set that we are using here. The first one is about analyze distributions. So when we look at this, there are three ways to look at, either you can use plot and in the parenthesis, the data frame name, or you can use data frame with one column and with two columns. The first one, of course, it plots the distribution of each column and compute the dataset statistics. Here, if you go to source statistics, then you can see a lot of this information about missing sales percentage, number of rows, duplicate rows, the total size and memory that this data set consumes, and then also the insights around this, what is missing, what is, the missing values for specific columns and so on. We can also get some of these representations of the values for each and every feature within that particular data set. Now, if we use the second and third one, there it kind of plots. So here, if we look at the distribution of column X in various ways and how it is calculating various forms of things that we can look at if we execute using the plot function, data frame, and the particular field that you would like to execute, then we will see, you would have the stats by default, then you would have bar chart, then you would have pie chart, and of course, word cloud, if it is relevant to that particular data set and that analysis that we are doing, and a whole lot of information around that. So it gives you very precise analysis points for that particular feature within the data set. Similarly, if we'd like to compare and do it for two features, right? So your data frame, comma, the feature one, feature two. In this case, we have taken property area and loan status. And then it gives a nested bar chart like this. Then you also have a start bar chart, and then there is a heat map. So there are different representations which automatically get computed and then represented on this when we analyze with just one line of code. The next, we go for analyze correlations. Here also similarly, we can use parameter as data frame or data frame with one column and then two columns likewise. And of course, in the initial analysis of the correlation of the data frame, it picks up between all pairs of columns and it provides a statistics. And then it gives, like we have seen it in pandas profiling, Pearson's coefficient, Spearman coefficient, and Kendall tau score. All of these are captured here. We can also do that for one particular variable or feature within the data frame. And when we do that, we'll have to plot the most correlated column to that particular column X, right, within the data frame. And here we have to ensure whatever feature that we are considering, they're all numerical columns to be analyzed for this kind of analysis that it provides. Same way, we can do it for two columns as well, plot underscore correlation, and we can use the data frame with column one, column two, or feature one, feature two. Here, it performs a correlation or the kind of a scatter plot that you would see between these two, applicant income and loan amount, and also draws and computes a regression line to it. The third one is about analyzing missing values. Here, again, similar pattern, data frame with one column, data frame with two columns. And accordingly, we would be able to see various different charts when we use plot underscore missing with the data frame. We can get the statistics, we can get the bar chart, spectrum, heat map, dendrogram, all of these you have already seen that in pandas profiling. So this is also part of this analysis here. The only thing is, it's based on the task-based module that it uses. The computing is much more faster and it can handle large data sets to some extent. And then we can use similarly for one parameter. One parameter, when we use this, then what is the impact, the missing impact of that variable, compared to the original data. So after dropping the missing values, it compares, this is the original data. And after you drop those missing values, how would be the representation of values within that particular feature. So this is also very interesting to look at it for all the features that it provides. And we can pretty much do the same thing for two parameters, two columns taken with the data frame. Then we can also go to the fourth one, which is analyzing difference between data frames that we mentioned about. Here we have taken train and test data set. This is, I think, one of the quickest way to get some insights between the train and test. Because if you are dealing with an unknown data set and want to have a quick first-hand information, this is really very, very helpful, because it also provides how is the representation of various data elements within these two data sets, right? Of course, in some cases, your trained data would have the target variable, which you would not have in the test. But then that's the reason here you would see 13 variables here and 12 variables here, other than the target one, the loan status. But that's where you can compare and then look at how a difference across various features or columns within these data sets also. It will tell you about the representation. This is the data frame 1, this is the data frame 2, blue, and then this color, and it represents the values accordingly, right, for all the features. Then finally, number 5, it gives a profile report when we execute create underscore report for that particular data frame. Let's say we are doing it for our trained data frame. And what we can do is we can leverage this as our initial analysis, like the way we have done it for pandas profiling. But of course, it works for much faster, much larger big data elements, much larger data volume we can analyze using DataPrep. And this likewise, it gives all of the information, the variables. Then again, we can go to the interactions. We can play with the x-axis and the y-axis. We can change that and then see the scatter plot, how it is represented and compared between both these variables that is there in the data set. And of course, the correlations and the missing values, pretty much the same thing. So that's about the overall report that it generates as a summary at the end. But prior to that, it gives a lot of different interpretations on the data sets. We can use DataPrep for large volume of data as well. And because it uses the DAS-based module computing power, it does that effectively. Hope you have enjoyed this. Please don't forget to provide your feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you for now.